Hey Free Fromers, and welcome to the Allergy and Free From Show Chat Ep.9, this week brought to you by our friends at Free From Italy, with me, Ben Corbett. This is our Series 1 finale, and with that in mind, we have a brilliant lineup today that begins with Masterchef champion Jane Devonshire, followed by the Allergy Guy himself, Kyle Dine, performing with music and puppets to educate about all things allergy. Before that, for the last time this series, I'd like to draw your attention to the link in the video description. Plans for our autumn shows in London and Birmingham are really kicking into top gear now, so grab your free tickets by clicking the link in the video description. But also, thanks to Free From Italy, we're able to launch a tremendous competition for you guys to win a beautiful hamper of Free From products. Free From Italy work with some of the most respected brands in Italy, bringing the tastiest gluten-free and vegan foods to you. From gluten-free pastas and nut-free pestos to vegan croissants and almond spreads. They've just won 2 Free From Food Awards silver medals for their efforts, and you can find their many brands online at Ocado, Ethical Superstore, the Vegan Kind Supermarket, and in your local independent store. So to be in with a chance of winning the hamper, just click the competition link in the video description and follow the instructions. And finally from me, I'd just like to say well done to this week's AFF Chat champions, Honey Buns Bakery. They've continued to supply our community with gluten-free bread and cakes throughout lockdown via their online order and delivery service. Thanks for the nomination, Maureen, and nice work, Honey Buns Bakery, this week's AFF Chat champions. So enough preamble. Now on to our first guest. I'd like to welcome to the virtual studio, Jane Devonshire.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Ben.
Hey, Jane. Thanks so much for coming on the show today.
You're more than welcome. It's great to be here. If we can't be at the show, this has got to be the next best thing.
I think this is it for now, isn't it? But yeah, definitely. October. It's all about October. But yeah, it's been brilliant catching up with people and doing these shows. I only started working with the Allergy Free From show in November, so it's been a real amazing opportunity to get to know everyone and have this time to chat. It's been invaluable for me, definitely. Yeah, let's start off by just, if people don't know your work, could you give us a quick explanation of who you are and what you're best known for?
Yeah, I suppose I'm best known for winning Masterchef in 2016. Kids entered me into the competition and somehow or other I found myself as the winner. So that was and then we had to decide what to do with it. And I've cooked gluten-free at home for the last coming up to 16, 17 years now, because my youngest son was diagnosed when he was 2 years old with celiac disease. So it's just the way we cook. So once I won, I very much wanted to go into that world. I couldn't cook food with wheat in the house anyway. So, and I'm passionate about making gluten-free food accessible for all and taking a lot of the mystique out of it and teaching people how easy it is and how it's just great food. So I suppose that's really what I've become known for and where my passion lies. And this year I had the really lovely thing of being made a official Celiac UK ambassador. So I do a lot of work with charity too. So it's a lovely world to be involved in, and that's really where my career is going, to be honest.
That's really cool. I mean, I find it so interesting when you're talking about, gluten-free food. It's just can just be good food. There was this moment I was watching a particular program, I'm not going to name it, and they were doing a free from week, and someone tried the food, and I remember one of the judges saying, well, that's okay if you're free from, I suppose, but no one else would want to eat it. And I just think that's the worst thing that you could possibly hear as someone that can't eat gluten-free food. You don't want to think that you have to give anything up in terms of taste or quality of food.
No, and it's infuriating, to be honest, that I used to see it a lot more, but I do see it in restaurants and different areas, or you'll buy something that costs a fortune, and to be frank, it's not fit for purpose and it's not good. And that is not the way it should be. I always think when people come into this house, they just know that hopefully they just know it's good food. It doesn't matter that it's gluten-free. And that's what it should be. You shouldn't be expected to compromise or expected to say, that's good enough for you. I mean, if you said that to someone, I don't know, with a food preference, if you gave a vegan a slice of steak and said that's good enough for you, that would not be acceptable. And we're actually talking about a medical condition that causes people real problems. So, I'm really passionate about it. I've seen how it can affect people. Food should be something that brings you together. It can then become a very isolating experience. I do a lot of work with children because particularly with kids, it can be very isolating. You know, they don't get invited to McDonald's, they get missed out of the pizza parties. Parents are scared to have them home. They think they're going to poison them. And it becomes an isolating thing. And that's not what it should be. Food should always be about inclusivity and enjoyment and family and friends and that wonderful thing, which is what food is. It brings us together. So, yeah, I totally believe. I get very angry when I hear statements like that, because it's not right.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is crazy.
Really, not second best. It's just good food. It just is good food.
Exactly. And it's about being able to educate yourself and experiment and find the way to do it, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm lucky. I think I can say it now, having won MasterChef. I've always been a good cook, and I can cook and I can understand. I have an understanding that I can throw things together and it works. And I took that and made it my gluten-free cooking at home. And that's how we've cooked. So pastas and breads and cakes and things. I just kept going until I got it so it tasted like it should do. And also, I've got 3 other children, and to be honest with you, kids can be pretty horrible. So if I gave them something, they'd be like, "Oh, why have I got to eat this?" Just because he's got to. Because kids, but they're kids, so you have to make it taste the same to get everyone to eat it. And I wasn't going to have Ben eating separate food, and all of us sat there eating one big plate of food and him eat. That's not what food is about. Food is about everybody eating together. So, family, all 6 of us, we all eat gluten-free. Admit the other kids have a sin bin in the utility room, which is got their bread in, because that was one thing that to begin with was not happening. But everything else, if we eat as a family, there's nothing on that table that Ben can't eat.
And what would you say is interesting? You're saying, obviously you're a good cook. You won MasterChef. What would you say to someone if they said, "But I'm not a good cook"? Because I hear people say that, and I sometimes think, I don't know whether I believe that that's anyone can cook to a certain level, and if they're following instructions and stuff. How do you feel about that?
I mean, they do struggle. I come across it all the time. And normally I'm at the Allergy Show with a big line of people talking to them about how they can cook, and they're overwhelmed by all this information you've got when you first start eating gluten-free. You can't eat this, you can't eat that. And they look at what you can't eat. And I think my first thing would be, look at everything that you can eat. There's so much beautiful food out there that you can eat. The free from shelves are very expensive, but there are a lot more accessible foods on them now. And then start off small. Start off making your own pasta sauces. Start off making your own things and in your comfort zone. And gradually you can experiment. And I think, I'm not here to plug my book, but that's why I wrote
no worries.
To take out that mystique, to take out that thing that people who always said, "I can't cook," and to say, you can. And I understand that gluten-free baking, for instance, is a lot more difficult, but really and truly just a few little hints and tips, and I promise you can have exactly what everybody else has.
That's brilliant. And I do want to talk about the book. I know you're not here just to plug the book, but we will definitely talk about it. But before that, I'm quite interested to know about the journey you've gone on since 2016 to this point of making the book. I think a lot of people in a similar situation, maybe that people have been on Bake Off, have been on MasterChef, maybe they're put in a situation where they have opportunities, but there's so many different routes that they could go down. I wondered, was this always the route that you wanted to go down? Did you have a bit of a journey since MasterChef to get to where you are today?
Yeah, I really did, because I think a lot of people go on the show and they think, I want to run a restaurant, I want to be a chef, or I want to be this. I went on it thinking I was never going to win, and it was just going to be a great time for a couple of weeks. So when I won, I remember looking at my husband and both us like, oh, what are we going to do now? You know, so it was lovely in some ways. So I think it was an organic thing. I knew the gluten-free route was what I wanted to do. And when people started talking to me about books, it was immediately, I want to write this gluten-free book. But I went to work with a lot of really wonderful chefs. I did stages in restaurants with people like Michelle Roux and Jason Atherton, Marcus Waring, Atul Kochhar. I went and worked in a few of those and did a sort of a month stage or 2-3 weeks or whatever to learn as much as I could about that world, because you can bring back certain things from that world into your cooking at home. And my first love is always home cooking, but obviously I have to know how to do the other stuff as well. So I'm lucky. I dip into lots of different worlds. I do my books, I do my editorial stuff, I do lovely interviews. Normally this time of year I'm traveling all over the country doing food shows and talking to people about food and presenting food. I do a lot of work with the charities, obviously, CELAC UK. And it's a very varied thing, and I love that. I love the fact that I'm doing different things day to day, and that I can mix it up, and that I can legitimately help people, because I really do love teaching and being able to sit with people and help them.
That's really cool. I think that these days a lot of our TV shows and stuff like that are quite focused on a particular skill or talent, which is really good. So I remember sort of the days of Big Brother and stuff like that, where someone would win and then they'd be like, "Well, I've got this fame and I literally don't know what I'm going to do with it." And you'd have people releasing singles and stuff like that, and not really being the right sort of person to do that. But I guess winning through having a skill like cooking and being a chef, it gives you these really specific routes, and it makes sense to go with educating yourself more so even in being a chef and then releasing the book. I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, and I think as well, the thing is, you can't go on these things thinking that you're going to be the next superstar or the next millionaire. It isn't an automatic open into these things. You get your 15 minutes of fame, but within 3 months, you know, people don't recognize you anymore. The world moves on very quickly. So you establish yourself. I think I was going to be famous. I just love what I do, and I love the fact that I've now got a platform to be able to do something that I really love. And I was 50 the year the show aired. I was 50 whilst the show was airing, actually. So for me, I just think how lucky at 50 to get a chance to do a career, a new career in something that you really love.
No, that's really cool, and that does bring us nicely onto the book. So this is the cover of your new book. Is it out yet? Is it coming out soon?
Oh no, that's the first book.
That's the first book.
Yeah, that's
already out.
Yeah, that's been out since that's been out a couple of years now.
Nice.
Yeah, it's doing really well, and of course, CELAC UK were brilliant. They came on board. I think I'm the only author at the moment that they're working with, and that's lovely that they go through all the recipes, they check them with me, and we know that they're 100% safe and all approved and everything. And then the next book comes out December time.
Nice. And is that sort of a continuation of a similar sort of theme?
Yeah, it will be. It's hassle-free, gluten-free again, but this one is vegetarian.
Okay,
for a
nice.
number of reasons. I think we're all moving towards a more flexitarian diet. Huge help with budget. Gluten-free food is so expensive. If we can have a couple of vegetarian meals, it helps a lot. And also, I'm cooking so much more vegetarian food because a couple of my kids are now. So as we talk about food inclusivity, we now have to do gluten-free and vegetarian. So yeah, it just books tend to relate to what I'm doing at the moment, and this is something that I'm cooking a lot of at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I know quite a lot of people who you say, "Oh, I didn't know you're a vegetarian." They're like, "Well, my partner's vegetarian, so effectively I'm vegetarian." And it is nice to be able to eat the same things. It really is.
It's the same as being gluten-free, you know. You I've seen so often Rebecca go to a restaurant and you get one little thing on the restaurant that you can eat, and we have the same with gluten-free, and we're all trying to be a little bit more educated and stop that happening. You know, open the world up for food for everyone.
Okay, well, last thing on the book. So we had James Wythe on last week, and we're doing this thing called the question train. So every guest asks a question of the guest next week. You're not going to have to do it because you're the last one, so lucky for you. But James asked, he's interested in publishing a book too, and he said, what was the hardest thing about writing and publishing a recipe book?
For me, I tend to cook very much that I sort of read a recipe, and then I'll go away and think on it, and then I make it up on the fly. So I throw things into pots and pans and off I go, which quite often means I have something delicious that I can never cook again. But the actual, the discipline of writing a recipe down, timing it, knowing exactly what tin you had to have, how many grams, how many teaspoons, that I found quite hard to begin with because it's just not natural to the way I cook. But it was actually that, I think, which I struggled with. I'd write a whole recipe out and then realise I forgot to put how long it was in the oven or what number it was on or something. So I'd have to go back and start again. I'm a bit better at it now. But yeah, to begin with, that was... And also picking the recipes. That's hard. You know, in your head, you've got hundreds, and what you whittle it down to make the book interesting and different, but also still at a level that everybody can get involved with.
And I guess it's so important to keep track of those things because I think something I've learned from talking to people over the last few weeks is that particularly free-from cooking is quite scientific. It's, if you're going to take out a specific ingredient, you need to understand what that ingredient does and whatever you're replacing it with, how will that work in the same way?
Yeah, it is. I when I started writing the book, the one thing I hated about a lot of gluten-free books, it's changed now, when Ben was first diagnosed, was I felt they were obviously written by people who had access to wonderful whole food markets and things on their doorstep in city centres that I just don't have, living in a village, living in Hampshire. So I was very definitely that there was nothing I was going to put in the book that I couldn't source in my local, quite small, not the best supermarket. So I've stuck with traditional ingredients, and I use one sort of flour usually, and I use the stuff that I know that you can get off the shelf, and so that people can be a little bit more fluid with it and a little bit more forgiving, I'm hoping, of the recipes.
Okay, absolutely. And so if every day someone's newly diagnosed, or someone's child may have been diagnosed that they maybe weren't previously aware of, what's the best piece of advice you think you could give to someone in that position?
Food's your friend, it's not your enemy. I see so many people almost become food phobic, and that's really sad. You've still got access to all the beautiful fresh fruit, vegetables, meat, fish, rice. It's still accessible. It's still out there. Please don't let it become your enemy. Embrace it. And I think there is a tendency to make it out to be a lot more difficult than it is. And quite often, if you look at it, anybody can still make a Victoria sponge or a nice cake or something. I admit breads are more technical and they will take a little bit longer, but most of it is still accessible. Don't be overwhelmed. And I think Celiac UK are absolutely brilliant at that, at talking sense through what quite often is an awful lot of noise and complication that it doesn't need to be.
That's what I was going to say. Like, the information's out there, isn't it? The guidance is out there. People like Celiac UK, people like yourself, the people that speak at our shows and coming along to our shows, and no one's ever on their own, aren't they? It's such a close-knit and supportive community that we're part of.
It really is. And you only have to go to the Allergy show, or recently we had the community week at Celiac UK because they couldn't do their awareness week as normal. And it was amazing to see people having tea parties and the support there. Doesn't matter what age you're diagnosed in, it's there. There's from very young to families right through to a lot of people who are diagnosed quite late in life. If you're diagnosed in your 70s and you've eaten one way all your life, it's hard to change your diet. Yeah. I sometimes think it's easier for Ben because he's never eaten a really crusty bread roll or something. He doesn't know what he's missing. So organisations like that are key, and I think that it's really important to get involved or to at least plug in so you can get decent advice straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Yeah, of course. And it wouldn't be a pandemic interview unless I asked how your lockdown's been. A lot of people have talked about having time on their hands to experiment. Have you been developing a lot of new recipes?
I have. I've been really busy, actually. There's 6 of us at home. I suddenly had most of the kids come home at the beginning of it all, which is no surprise. So I think a lot of my days have just been cooking for them all. It's like going back to when they were all at school, sort of thing. I'm turning out 3 meals a day for 6 adults almost. So yeah, it's been a busy household, and I've had quite a lot of work to do because I've been working a lot on the second book, doing the last edits, and we were down in Bristol this week doing the photo shoot for that. So we've been really lucky, and I am lucky because where I live, I've got a nice garden and literally beautiful woods and stuff on my doorstep. So I'm so aware of the fact that a lot of my friends in London are in flats or haven't got the outside space. So it's not been easy, but I feel very blessed. I feel very lucky, actually, by the whole.
Yeah, of course. And what's been your go-to meal or bake over the last 3 months then?
Oh, well, I set myself a task because I had a freezer full of food that I was going to cook a different meal every day for a month. So I can't say that was my task to keep myself entertained. And we've also got a fabulous butcher's up the road that always remained open. We could just order the stuff and pick it up from the door. So I was quite lucky in that respect and cleared out my freezer. So we've been working our way through. And to begin with, it was quite funny because I had all sorts of things in there like buffalo steak. We had some very weird and wonderful food during the lockdown.
It is funny, isn't it? I've had time to sort of try making things that I haven't before, because I think it's really easy to get into a habit of eating almost the same 7 meals every week or every 2 weeks, depending on when your shop is, and just sort of varying what day of the week it is, but you're effectively just sort of reeling off the old favorites every week, and being at home, it's given me time to make things from scratch, and I've definitely opened my repertoire from being at home.
I really hope so. I know people work and I know people are busy and everything else, but I'm really hoping there are some positives that come out of this, and that is that maybe more people will start cooking a bit more at home and using local producers and realizing how fantastic your local greengrocer is. It might cost a little bit more, but oh wow, it's so much better, and you can get it locally, and I just really hope it does have some positive impacts. I mean, it's been horrible news over the last few weeks, and I'd hate to think it was all negative, that there was some good things to come.
Cool, absolutely. Well, everyone's, I'm sure, waiting for your next book to come out, which is going to come out at the end of the year, as you were saying, yeah?
Yeah, December, hopefully.
But in the meantime, where can people find more of your work?
Well, I'm on Instagram. I'm Jane C. Devonshire, and Facebook, and I'm on Twitter. So you can always find me on any of those platforms, and there's lots of recipes that I share on those. I've got a website that does need upgrading, so I haven't got the recipes on there yet, but that's coming along soon. We're working on that in the background. So you can always contact me, and I do try and answer. People message me regularly. I always try and answer people back if I can, if they've got any problems or they're struggling with something.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat today, and for all of the stuff you do with the community and the support you give people. We all really appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. And hopefully I can see you all later on this year at Birmingham and London. That would be lovely.
Absolutely. I'm sure you will. Thanks a lot. Cheers, Jane.
Thanks.
Bye. Okay, right. So thanks to Jane, a tremendous guest for our last show. But that brings me on to our second guest. We saved Kyle till last because we haven't had anything like him on the show so far, and we're all really excited to see him. So let me introduce to you and your families the Allergy Guy, Kyle Dine.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Kyle. Thanks so much for taking the time to perform for us today.
It is my pleasure. And as you said, if you're out there, grab your kids. We're about to have a lot of fun.
Wicked. I'm going to hand over to you, mate. It's all yours.
All right. Thanks so much. So, hello, everybody. My name is Kyle Dine. I might have met some of you at the Allergy Free From show in the last few years in London. I'm from Canada, but sometimes I'm in Europe, and it all worked out that I've got to go a few times and meet some of you. But now, with everything going on, you get to come see me in my living room. So I'm going to be doing a few songs. I got my homemade puppet stand going on here, and it's all about one thing in particular, something that we all know a lot about, and that is all about food allergy. I have a lot of food allergies myself. I'm going to tell you all about them. And I go around the world educating kids about food allergy, because when I was a kid with an allergy, I wish more people were aware of them. And that's what I do through music, through puppets, through storytelling and games to help grow empathy, understanding, and support for kids with food allergies. So I'm going to give you a little taste of that today. And first I'll grab my guitar. And I have to tell you, the name The Allergy Guy, that comes from somewhere. And yes, I am a guy with that has food allergies, but let me tell you, I've got a whole bunch. And kids, I want to challenge you to try and count all of the food allergies that I have. I'm going to try to list them in this song, all right? There's quite a few, so good luck. You ready to start counting? I'm allergic to peanuts, eggs, milk and wheat, broccoli, soy and meat, pears, peas, peaches, plums, avocado, and bubble gum. Are you counting so far? Good, there's more. Let's speed it up a little bit. Pepperoni, pork chop, salt and pepper, soda pop, almonds and pistachios, honey nut Cheerios. Woo! Guess what? There's more. Mussels, truffle, shellfish, berries, cherries, radish, lamb jam, ham, spam, sea clams, and Teddy Grahams. Woo! Still counting? There's more. Leeks and beans and lima beans, potatoes, rice and sour cream, bacon, butter, brown bread, Brussels sprouts and bean spread. Woo! Guess what? There's more. Tomato, tofu, tuna fish, turkey tea, taco dish, melon, mango, mushroom, mint, mozzarella, mandarin. Thank you. Did you count all those foods? Now, I'll give you the right answer. There is a right number. If you counted 56, you're absolutely right. Way to go. Now, wait a second. Kyle, are you allergic to all those things? Thank goodness. No, I am not. I might have exaggerated a little bit just for the song. I'm going to tell you my real food allergies, and I bet we share some of the same food allergies, some of the same restrictions. And I'll go through the top 14 allergens in the UK and Europe. And if you have one, I bet you'll recognize it right away. Peanut, that's one of my allergens. Another top one are tree nuts. And tree nuts are different than peanuts. They're all the other types of nuts, like almonds, walnuts, pistachios. I'm also allergic to egg, and that can be a tricky one because egg can be an ingredient in so many different things: cakes, cookies, pastries. Now, a few other ones here. Milk, dairy foods, is a very common allergen. I'm also allergic to fish, things like salmon or cod, as well as shellfish. No, I'm not selfish. I said shellfish. And that could be things like lobster, clams, mussels. Another common one, wheat. And some people have celiac disease. And that's a little different than an allergy, but they still have to avoid those things just the same with gluten proteins. Soy, another common one, soybean, which can be in tofu, in soy sauce. Open sesame. Sesame seeds is another top one as well. Another one of my food allergies, I'm allergic to mustard or mustard seed. And a few more here, lupin seed, celery, one more, sulfites, things like preservatives, wine, vinegars. So you probably recognize something that you might be allergic to. Maybe you're allergic to more than one thing. And whatever it is, that's okay. We're going to learn a little bit more about those allergies today and how you can stay safe. Now, I bet a lot of you have become label reading detectives. You know how to spot the things that you're allergic to a mile away. And I'm proud of you. Great job. There's a lot of things that we can do to stay safe. And to talk a little bit more about something that we can all do, I'm going to bring out a special friend. Her name is Lucy. Let me see if I can track her down. Well, howdy, y'all. My name is Lucy. And what's a free from show anyway? Is it free from any shows? Because this kind of seems like a show. Well, anyways, I hope it's not free from sheep, because I love finding safe chocolate bars. I have allergies too, you know, but I have a problem. I can never remember what they are. So I actually wear a bracelet. Can you see? Yeah, a bracelet on my wrist that has all of my food allergies on top. And I think Kyle has one too. Well, I gotta run now. Can you say bye-bye? Wow. You got to meet Lucy. And you're going to meet a few more friends in a couple minutes too. But she mentions about this allergy bracelet. Do you know what she's talking about? And in fact, I do, because I have one right here on my wrist. And, you know, kids, this is a really, really important thing, not just to remember your own allergies like Lucy has issues with, but to help let other people know what's wrong in an emergency. Now, if I flip mine over, on the other side, all of my food allergies are listed on the other side. Peanut, tree nut, egg, fish, shellfish, and mustard, and penicillin, a medicine. And that's important because, yeah, you know, I've had allergic reactions before where I have needed help. And maybe you've had allergic reactions before as well. And today's a great day just to do a quick review on what an allergic reaction looks like, but we won't do it in a scary way. I brought my friend Susie over here to help out, show us what a reaction looks like. And you probably know these signs, these symptoms pretty well. One could be a rash, a red, itchy spot that can go anywhere on your skin. Something pretty similar, something called hives, these little red, itchy bumps that can go on your skin. Sorry, Susie. Another one, stomach cramps, really bad stomach pain. Thunk. Oh, upside down. All right, I'm going to try to reach way up top because another one is feeling dizzy or nauseous or vomiting. I don't have a sign for that, though. But feeling dizzy, absolutely. Now, this next one might look a little silly on Susie, but it could actually happen, and that swollen lips, swelling your mouth, your lips, and a couple more here. This one's more related to environmental allergies. Achoo! sneezing, if you're allergic to ragweed or pollen, that can be common. But then end up a very serious sign of a food allergy or an allergic reaction. Not only can you get swelling in your lips, but you can get swelling in your throat, making it very tough to breathe or wheezing. And that is a very serious one. Poor Susie. I feel bad for this girl. She's got all these signs of an allergic reaction. Now, got good news for Susie. She's going to be okay. And I know that you're going to be okay if you ever have an allergic reaction, because we have a secret, don't we? We carry something that can help get rid of an allergic reaction. What do you think it is? It's actually right here on her belt. Yeah, I bet you do know, and I carry it with me too everywhere I go. I've got epinephrine or adrenaline in this auto injector. Some of you might know it as an EpiPen. There's some other models as well. And this is really important that we've got this with us everywhere we go, at least 2 of them. And I know that you know this is not a toy. This is not something you play with, because it is a really serious medicine that could help during an allergic reaction. So Susie's got one, I've got one, and I know that you guys have got one too, and make sure to always have it with you. And I know that you guys are doing a great job. I have a couple superheroes I want to introduce you to. 2 superheroes that actually have EpiPens on their belts as well. Their names are Epi-Man and Epi-Man Jr. Maybe they're actually going to come out and do a song for us. So let me see if I can find them. You guys back here? Uh-huh.
All right, clap your hands. If you have an allergy to something you should know, there's medicine to carry everywhere you go. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Do I have smelly feet? What? No, focus. We're not singing about feet. Oh yeah. An EpiPen is a must. An EpiPen is a must. Oh, an EpiPen. Yeah. An EpiPen. Yeah. An EpiPen is a must. If you have an allergy, an EpiPen is a must. Thanks everyone. You have been awesome. Stay safe and stay positive.
Did you see that? My living room is full of surprises these days. Epi-Man, Epi-Man Jr. Well, hey, I like to have a lot of fun during my shows, because allergies, it can be a really cut and dry topic. But it's really important that it's something that we can get empowered over. Because I can tell you, I've grown up with allergies ever since I was 2 years old, a long, long time. And I know it's tough to have allergic reactions. I know it's important to speak up if it ever happens, get an adult right away. But I also know that allergies, they don't need to define us, that we can grow up and be anything that we want. And for me, I've learned it's really important to keep it all in perspective. And for me, it's not always focusing on what I can't eat, what I can't do. I really try to focus on what I can eat, what I can do, and really stick to those positive themes. So I wrote a song. I'll grab my little ukulele called C'est la vie. And C'est la vie is a French term that means that's life. And for me, that's the kind of perspective that helps me sometimes, just to keep it all in perspective and remember they don't need to slow me down. You and I see eye to eye that we don't mind when others just might, whether a bruise on the knee or a food allergy won't bother me. C'est la vie. And in this crazy life, it's easy to get caught up in the fuss. When people think we've got it bad, it must be so tough. It's all not as bad as some might make it to be. We can play and have fun, smile and feel young. So we'll say, c'est la vie. All right. I miss having a live audience, but this is the next best thing for us to still get together. And well, I think we have time for one more song, but the coolest thing about not doing live performances in person is that I can do really cool tricks with my computer with you. Now you're saying, what are you talking about? Computer tricks? Yeah. So I got a web camera, and I'm just going to close it over in a second here because we're going to play a game of what's missing. I've got a tray of allergy-related paraphernalia. I have some soap. We got to wash your hands a lot, right? I have a asthma puffer. Maybe you have a puffer at home. A hand washing, very important. Or if you want to give me a little hand. Medical alert bracelet, an EpiPen trainer, some hand sanitizer, an ingredient list, and an Equal Eats food allergy card. All right, to explain your allergy at restaurants. I'm going to turn off my webcam, and one of these things are about to go missing, and you need to guess what it is. Take a good look. Here we go. All right, which one's going to go missing? All right, 3, 2, 1. Boop. If you guessed the asthma puffer, you're absolutely right. Way to go. If you have asthma, hopefully you are following those instruction plans that your doctor gives you as well. It's a very serious condition that I have as well, in addition to food allergy. Now we'll do one last final song. And this is one that my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, and I wrote during this whole period we're in right now while we were at home, playing music, trying to make the most of it every day. And it really came down to a sentiment that I was trying to get across during my virtual shows in March and April, is that we know it's so important to stay safe. We know we should be washing our hands and carrying our epinephrine with us or adrenaline. But I think the one other message that really needs to balance that is to stay positive. And I think that's a message that we all need to hear now more than ever. It's not only just staying safe, but taking the time for ourselves, our head, our body, to stay positive and grow during this time. So we wrote a song together called Stay Safe, Stay Positive. And I think at the end of the day, it's a reminder to all of us that things get better. And I remember it was tough growing up with food allergies, and it's tough right now, and things will only get better. And your attitude, your mindset really helps with all that. So I encourage all of you to keep staying safe and stay positive. Here we go. Stay safe, stay positive, even if you really feel the opposite. There'll be days when the rain will leave you blue, but a rainbow will always shine on through. Stay safe, stay positive, stay strong, and you will stay on top of it. Worries may come, but they will go. You'll be alright, as long as you know to stay safe, stay positive. Remember these words, as long as you live. Stay safe, stay positive. You'll be alright. You'll be alright. You'll be alright. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for joining. My name is Kyle Dine, and I hope to see you live at the next show, whenever they may be. And if you're ever looking for more resources on allergy education for kids, I've got a website, kyledine.com, with free videos, music, and some puppet stuff too. So it's all there for you. So thank you so much for joining.
Mate, thank you so much. That was brilliant.
Thanks, Ben.
That's the first time I've seen you perform, and that was just amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that for us. I'm sure everyone at home really enjoyed it too.
You're very welcome. I know that you're a musician too. I wish we could have done a little duet.
It's in the future, man. It's going to happen. There's no doubt that has to happen. Wicked. Well, thanks, mate. I'm going to bring Jane back in now, just so I can say thanks to both of you for taking the time to make our finale so special and so brilliant. So, yeah, thank you so much. And I hope I see you both at one of our future shows.
Oh, definitely, Ben. Thank you so much. It's been really lovely chatting to you. And great work, Carl. Really loved it.
You too, Jane. Thanks so much. Stay safe, you guys.
Thank you.
Cool. So I can't think of a better way to wrap up this series than we did today. It just remains for me to say that we're working so hard to make our October show in London and November show in Birmingham a real celebration. So please go to the video description, click the link and book your free tickets right now, and I'll see you there. This week's finale episode was brought to you by our friends from Free From Italy. So don't forget to click on the competition link in the video description to be in with a chance of winning that hamper. Keep an eye on our social channels for news about the shows and news about the Allergy and Free From Show chat. We'll be coming back really soon. But until then, stay safe, Free Fromers. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend.